Welcome to Haxby Shed. Now, I decided quite some time ago that I did not want to buy any more machines. No sir. I'd had enough. I'm running out of space. I didn't even want to buy the mill. It was only because Tony pointed it out to me, and it was a good price for a good machine, and it was very close by, and I just couldn't turn it down. But that's it. I'm not buying any more machines until Eddie from Moreland Engineering sent me an email. Now, I'd come across Eddie before because he's a subscriber, and he'd sent me messages to help me with the inverter wiring on the mill. I was okay with the basic stuff, but I wasn't really that well clued up on all the interlocks, so he helped me with that because that's his business. Anyway, so I get this email from Eddie that says, "Oh, are you interested in one of these? It won't be expensive." Now, when I hear words like that, won't be expensive, it's, okay, what is it? Anyway, here it is. Shall we unveil it? A grand unveiling. Ta-da! A Herbert Junior Surface Grinder Mk2, circa 1964, so it's quite a late one. I think they made them into the 70s. It seems to be in pretty good condition. Horrible paint job. I'm thinking I'll try and paint it the original colour. I don't normally bother trying to paint machines, but with this one I think it's just crying out for it. It's not a complex machine, so it's easy enough to strip and paint anyway. Let's bring you in for a closer look. So this weighs about 250 kilos, maybe 550 pounds, something like that. Comes with the original magnetic chuck Eclipse, plus the clamps I've got with it. So vernier dials, that's what they call them anyway, but each turn is 100 thou on this one. 100 thou is 2.54 millimeters if you prefer. This is table across, and then to operate this, I think it's got about an 8-inch travel, which is set by these two blocks here against this stop. Now, there's one or two people have got videos on these on YouTube, and that's helped me understand how to get it apart. It's not difficult actually. This handle, rotate this, get this off. It's on a rack and pinion. These screws here, unscrew this. I think maybe you might have to take this off. There's a kind of a knob here. I don't know what these are for. These are supposed to be settable dials, so I don't know if that's what these do. There's one on each, but I haven't figured out quite how that works yet. Nobody seems to have a manual for one of these. The spindle is dry, and if I take the back cover off, I'll show you, I can get a bit of rattle in that spindle, so it's not that healthy, but the motor's fine. Eddie tested the motor for me. It's 3-phase, half a horsepower, and he set it up with a Steinmetz connection, you know, with a capacitor to drive it from single phase, and it runs fine. I'm probably not going to run it from an inverter simply because I don't want to buy another. And it doesn't need it because I don't need speed control or anything like that. It's got a one-shot oiler system here. If I pull this handle, which is only just on shot for you, let's have a look, hang on. There. So if I pull that handle, there's an oil gallery here, which the Mark IIs had. The Mark 1s didn't. So you pull that handle and it gives a shot of oil to everywhere. So the top switches over here, which you now can't see again, there we are, on this side, they're not wired in at the moment. So, very pleased with it. I think it's a really cute machine. Let's have a look around the back. It's got a cast iron cover. Now, I've taken the belt off already. But if I get close to this, you might pick it up on the microphone. Listen. And when I get these off here, it's supposed to be grease bearings. When I take these fittings out and look inside, it's as dry as anything. This has got an adjuster with a lock and a screw. And I don't know whether that's just for holding on the pulley or whether there's any adjustment in the bearings. I looked at lathes.co.uk, which is a very common source of, the authoritative source really, of information about many British machines and others. And they said that this shaft had precision ball bearings. So we'll just have to explore and find out, won't we? Now, I don't want to turn this into a long series like I did with the mill. I mean, I never planned it that way anyway. It's just that every time I started on it, there was another job to do and another job to do. This should be more straightforward. I should say, I looked at a number of YouTube channels. There's quite a few around, you know, 5 or 6 maybe, that mention these machines. But the one that was most useful to me was one by a guy called Machining with Joe. And he's got a 1930 Mark I machine, very tidy looking, but he explained, it's about 4 months old, this video. He explained how he got this table apart and everything. He didn't take the knee off, but it's helped me a lot just understanding how it comes apart. So I think I'll just get this off and maybe this off while you're here. The rest of the stuff, I'm going to do quite a lot of stuff off camera just so I can get on with it and it doesn't become, you know, too long and tedious, this series. These bellows are looking a bit shabby. They're not too bad. But I've seen people making new bellows out of neoprene sheet, cutting them and then super gluing the edges together. But we'll tackle that problem when we get to it because it's not terrible, you know. In fact, surprisingly good. Okay, so let's get on with it. We'll get this off and maybe this off. I'm a bit short for space. It's hard to get the camera far enough back, but not a good start. Need a better Allen key than that. Nothing's ever easy, is it? Well, I've just got to break in here to say that the sound on the next few clips is not very good. There's my transmitter, and that's from my lapel mic. It was in my pocket. I think I got my phone out and it did this. So you get the idea. Anyway, I've done my best with it. I can't repeat it. Oh, gotcha. I'll take these off. There's an oil feed line here. It's flexible. Good. So these 4 cap heads came out of here, no problem. And I managed to get this loose as well. 2 locating pins. Now, on the end of this tube should be a nut, a bronze nut, I hope. Let's see how warm that is. Something stops it coming off. You can hear a distinct clunk. I don't know where that is. I'm just going to loosen off the keep strips. Might give me a clue as to where it is. These parts seem to be in good condition. You can see the oiler system here on this saddle. This is the only machine I've got with a full oiler system, although I did make something for the shaper, and there's a sort of oil pump I put into the head of the lathe. This is really good quality, I think. Anyway, I'm going to set up a degreaser bath now. Heavy duty degreaser. 1 catful per litre of warm water. 7 litres. Hopefully this doesn't let the water through. We shall see soon enough. This might fit in here, I think it should. I don't know. There we go. What's the betting? I'll put this down and the cardboard collapses. That's going to come up nicely, I think. Well, that degreaser wasn't really that good, so I've moved to cleaning this part. You can see all the rubbish I've got out of it here. I've managed to get the screw out. There's a grub screw there, a large grub screw Allen. Obviously the nut goes in there like that, and then with this on the end here to protect it, whacked it with a hammer with this unscrewed obviously, and I managed to extract the screw. And it is 5 TPI, which is kind of a non-standard thread for a 5/8 bar. When I look online, you know, 5/8 Acme would typically be 8 TPI, so I don't think I can buy a tap for this. Nut extracted, 2 inches long, 15/16 in diameter, lots of slop. Listen to this. Okay, too much. So I need to find some bronze, and Brad from MJB Engineering, he has a small channel, messaged me some time ago saying, don't be buying any of that bronze, I've got lots of scrap. So he's on a mission now to see if he can find any for me. Time will tell. By the time you see this, we'll know, because it might be 4 weeks, 5 weeks before you see this. Anyway, as I was saying earlier, this is a very small hole. I won't be able to cut that thread on the lathe because I won't be able to get a threading bar in there. It would be so small it would just bend all over the place. So I'm going to have to make a tap. I can't buy a tap, I don't think, because this is non-standard. It's 5 TPI on a 5/8 diameter screw. So I've bought myself Delrin for practice. So that's practice for the nut. This is practice for the tap. And I bought some silver steel to make the tap from. This is 5/8. These others, well, I've put them back now, but they were metric sizes. I'll just have to machine them to the right diameter. But this is actually 5/8 silver steel, 300 and a bit long, might be 330, can't remember now. So that's going to be quite a big mission for me to make that tap. I've never made a tap before, and this one's going to be quite a complex one. Because of the depth of thread, the tap's going to have to be really quite long, with a very long taper on it. You know, you've seen these Acme taps, haven't you, with that are very, very long and very tapered. And I've had to buy an insert, so let me go and find the insert. So here's the insert. Try and get this to focus. I think that insert, that's a 5 TPI Acme insert, and I think that was about 10 or 11 pounds. There was a sale on, should have been more, but I got it for about 10 or 11, I think. And that insert is going to go into that holder, which you might have seen before if you followed the milling machine series, because at the time, early on, I wasn't sure if I was going to have to make a tap for that, for the new nut, for the X feed on the table for the milling machine. But in the end I managed to bore the nut, do it on the lathe, cut it with a threading bar. But in this case I can't, so I bought this anyway for that earlier job. Direct purchase from China. Can't remember exactly how much now. Maybe 11 or 12 pounds, which was a very good deal. So obviously that goes in there, like that. Anyway, all that is future, because at this stage I'm still scraping the paint off. So we're going to collect the surface grinder in a remote village in North Yorkshire. Turn left. This is a left turn, is it? Watch this swing. We've got a trailer on the back.
And that right turn, the other road, says unsuitable for motor vehicles.
Oh, right. Well, we found it. I probably shouldn't video the place. But it's a kind of quite nice farmhouse on a junction. We're in. There we are. Here we are again. Didn't expect to be doing this so soon. There's going to be a concrete pad going down there. The builder's been round. I'm waiting for the quote to make jobs like this a lot easier. But unfortunately we got a bit out of sync.